So for this one today, I'm doing two things. It's mostly showcasing the Warframe's ability and as well as their entire kit, um, how to mod them, how they move, what exactly they do in the mission. So it's not just about their powers, but how the powers is executed, how they move while they're in mission, using guns and other things, as well as what the type of modding that they are a part of, as well as their base standard operating procedure of their tank, which is basically each single Warframe is a walking tank anyway. So if a tank was to roll over a Warframe, the Warframe wouldn't die or anything from it rolling over because it's just as strong, if not stronger, than tanks. They all have shields on their bodies so they wouldn't be crushed, and they have like I would say they have like Hulk strength. Um, well, not really Hulk strength, but half of Hulk strength. So Hulk would just pick up a tank and then throw it in the air. Like they probably could pick up a tank, but it would probably take them a while to pick up a tank and then to throw it. So they probably have like half Hulk strength. So either way, they're as strong as tanks anyway. So this tank right here, this frame right here is Valkyr, but I'm not going to go over Valkyr right now. Maybe I should. Okay, so is where I left off. I had left off, and I had it on. If I'm not mistaken, I have it on. I had it on Nyx. Or was it Nova? I don't remember. It was Nyx or Nova. Um, so now I'll move on to the additional other warframes that are mid to high tier. So for this one, I'm just going to go for Protea first, and then move forward. Actually, I did Protea already. Yeah, I did Protea already. I said the amount that she could. Yeah, she was the last one I went through, and then I called it a day on Protea, and then moved on to something else. So today is Siren Day, um, and today is Trinity Day, and today is Valkyr Day, and today is Wisps Day. So if I could get all four of those done today, I'm golden. Oh, wait a minute. I did say I was going to do Siren for last. I said Siren will be the last video of my showcase. So, yeah, Siren is going to be the last because she's probably top tier of the best. Siren, Gauss, uh, Korra, and yeah, Siren, Gauss, Korra, I believe Gara. I said as well as Volbon. Those was going to be my last, and Trinity as well. My best and my best are going to be my last. So up next will be, I guess I could start from the bottom, so it doesn't really matter. I will start from Wukong, and I will move upward to Wisp, and then I'll move to Volt, and then I'll move to um, well, Volbon really isn't like super top tier. He's kind of squishy if enemy hits him too much. So I would say he's a mid tier to high top tier. So I'll start from Wukong, then I'll move to Wisp, then I'll go to Volt. Um, Actually, Volt is the high tier, so I'll skip him. I'll put him last with Siren and them. So I'll go Wukong, I'll go Wisp, I'll go Valkyr, and I'll go Trinity. And Trinity's mid to high tier. She could survive a lot. In fact, you could say Trinity's pretty much super high tier, but she doesn't do high DPS. But she would fall into the super high tier. Actually, I consider Trinity to be in the top tier, the highest tier. If she could take on level 175 enemies by herself and not die at all, like not even once, then she's super high tier. Like if you know how to use her. And that's beautiful, man. And I think I made a video where she only died like one time because I wasn't paying attention. So if you die like once against the highest level enemies in the game that you can make, like level 175 gunners or level 175 bomber, and there's a huge group of them, and you just died once, and like 20 of them teaming up at you or shooting at you all the same time, or at least 10 of them shooting at you, or even 5 of them at 175 shooting at you, and you only die once after killing all of them, you're a high tier, period. So yeah, that probably does not apply to someone like Wukong. Mid to high tier, I would say Wukong is. Doesn't apply to someone like Wisp. Mid to high tier, someone like Wisp. And I would say it wouldn't apply to someone like Volt either. Volt is mid to high tier. We're talking about people who are probably going to die by just one revive only and use up one revive only. These low level frames, even though they're like high standard, like if they're fighting a large group of enemies that are coming at them, they'll probably die more than once. Plain and simple. Like Volt is good for killing things fast, but if enemies are surrounding him, it's a wrap for him. That's why even though he's high tier, he's not the high tier. He's not the big high tier big boys. You know, he's not super tanky that way. In fact, he's not a tank at all. He's just a high DPS. So that's why I'm probably going to use him. I was thinking about using him as last, but once a lot of enemies start surrounding him from left, right, behind, and stuff, he's not going to make it. That's all there is to it. I am going to use him. I'm going to use Wukong. I'm going to use Wisp. I'm going to use Volt. I'm going to use and Voltbomb also falls into that territory, so I'm going to use Voltbomb as well. I'm not going to use Valkyrie because Valkyrie does not fall into that territory. She could kill all 20 level 175 enemies and still not die. As long as you drop an energy pad in front of her, like once every like 2 minutes. Once every 2 minutes, you drop an energy pad in front of her. She's not going to die. Like if you up her duration period to be extremely high and efficiency to be extremely high, she's not going to die. She'll kill those 20 enemies of 175 before she dies. And if she does die before killing all those enemies at 175, she'll die probably once, maybe twice, not even. I think once or twice is the most she'll die. She's not like Trinity, where you'll just die once with Trinity fighting level 175 bombers or gunners. She'll probably die twice. But if she dies twice, then I know cats like freaking Volbon and Wisp are going to die more than that, or they're about to die around the same. So if she dies twice, then they'll all die twice, including Wukong. That's why she's mid-tier, tough boy territory, whereas people like Trinity and Sarn is high tier tough boy territory. Because Sarn is basically squishy when enemies are extremely high surrounding her, but if she's able to cast Toxic and then kill enemies real fast all at the same time and the duration period lasts on them and they die at the same time, then she's able to survive. She's not really a tank, she's more a DPS killer. Um, that's why some people say, well, she's not super high because if she dies and use up more than one revive, then she's not super high. I think that people only have her on the super high level because she can kill enemies fast that are at an incredibly long distance without even coming near them. So if I stay up on top of a podium or something and hide and cast my ability outwards and it goes beyond 275 range, it doesn't really matter if the enemy can see me or not. All I gotta do is hide behind a wall and cast my abilities, and they're going to die. But eventually you have to get in contact with enemies, and eventually you have to use it and use your health healing orb. So I could see her dying twice. That's why I consider Trinity to be much higher than her, because Trinity can heal at any time and use use her powers on someone to gain back energy from them, while she's always multitasking and casting fourth ability multiple times. So, I consider Trinity to be better than her in that capacity of surviving longer than she does. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna start from the bottom and I work my way to the top. And these will all be the mid to high tier Warframes. Volt will be a high tier, but he's not a high tier in tank. He's just a high tier DPS. So I'll make sure I state those specifically before I use it. All these Warframes at the bottom are mid-tier Warframes. Once they start fighting enemies like 175, they're all going to get murked more than once. But if the enemy's standing right in front of them or they're moving around a lot, the most they'll use up is one or two revives. So yeah, they're not like Trinity. They're not like Valkyr. They're not like Nyx, where they could just turn on their fourth abilities and just go and murk people. Or like Rhino, or like Neza, have enough have enough health in order to use their abilities, or someone like Nidus, we just use his abilities cast to build up stacks. But Nidus stuff takes time. So, and they're not like Mag either, even though Mag is squishy, but she knows how to use her range abilities. So it's very strange with regards to this. That's why Starn is still in top tier territory rather than mid to mid frame. So I'll start with, even though Wukong is considered top tier, he's not really top tier because he's limited to melee mostly, rather than to do range weapons. You want to not just be limited to um, melee. You want to have range because enemies who are shooting guns from afar will kill you. So I'll start with Wukong. He's a mid to high range, I guess mid to high level character, and he's pretty good. Um, but unfortunately, he will never be exceptional simply because his kit is designed for melee only. And an enemy that shoots a bomb from, I don't know, 100 meters away, he'll die straight out with by the time he even reached that enemy. So yeah, that's the limitation of him. So for his kit, since I'm starting from Wukong, and these are mid-level frames, his base standard kit, showcasing this Warframe. His standard kit is strength of 100, range of 100, efficiency of 100, duration of 100, and then sprint speed of 1.05, shields of 350, health of 450, energy of 195, and armor of 275. So he has like a standard all-rounder armor rather than weak frames that have armor that's within in the 100 range. He has just a little bit more than them, so he has better armor than them. But his main focus is not within his armor. His main focus is within his shields and within his health. So he has more health than he does armor, and he has more shields than he does armor. So if you could consider that part of his kit, of course you could up his armor in order for it to be increase his survival. Because just like an Eidolon, if you could get past the armor, then you have to get to the health. And armor is more important in a way than health, because if you can't get to the health, you can't use status effect that bleeds out the health. It has to wear past the armor first before it gets to the health. So armor is very important, but you have to know how to balance it off in this game. So he's major health. So the game gives you a certain amount of health for this character, so that it will take a while for an enemy to kill them. But you must build this Warframe on armor to balance him off, so he could be effective in combat. So the first thing you will want to do is decide if you want to use an Umbra or if you're not going to use an Umbra. So I'm going to use an Umbra for increasing his health and to increase his armor. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in an aura slot so he could have even more, not so much power, more health for more survivability. Oh, but his stuff is okay. Never mind. His aura is Madurai, so I keep forgetting that his aura is Madurai, so it's all about him doing melee damage. So I have to pick melee since he's melee centered. which is obvious. The more melee damage he does with his weapons, the more damage output he does. So I'm going to pick Steel Charge for melee since he's a melee Warframe, and Coaction Drift increases melee damage since he's a melee Warframe. I could simply increase his power when I turn on his power and put Power Drift on, but it's not all the time I'm going to have on his power, but I'm going to be using his melee weapons majority of the time, so that's the reason why I have Coaction Drift on. So the standard will always be Steel Path and Coaction Drift on Wukong to do more melee damage because he's a melee Warframe. And these slots have already been selected because I need them for armor and I need them for more armor. So I want, if I'm not going to increase my health, I'm going to increase my armor set to be even more than what it is before. I can't put in steel fibers because I already have an Umbra. So what I can do, however, if I don't like Umbra, I could simply put in steel fibers and I could make Umbra increased here. So either way, I'm able to get the amount of armor that I need, as well as strength that I need for this Warframe. So when he starts using his powers, he'll be able to do a lot of damage added towards his melee strength. So I was thinking about that, and I was like, all right, so what if I remove this and put the Umbra? The Umbra with the Vitality just increase it to 653, where the regular steel fibers just make it like 500 or something, which is not too bad, but it's just 100 more. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, so it's just 100 more. Wouldn't I want like 55% more in ability strength rather than 100 more in armor? Because if I'm able to do my abilities more, wouldn't that be better? So it really depends on what it is that you're going for. For this build, I'm going for more armor than I am for more strength, because I'm going for an all-rounder build. I'm not going for a strength build, which is a DPS. I'm going for an all-rounder. So I'm going to put that in. And since he's based on range, because he's melee, so his melee range have to do, well, not really range that much, more like efficiency, so he could use his powers a lot. And I just need a certain amount. I'm pretty sure he's a drain per second Warframe. So, but I don't need to use my fourth if I don't need to use my fourth if I'm just using standard melee weapons. So I'm going to put this in so I don't have to lower my duration and still have a little bit, 30% efficiency towards abilities. I don't know. Maybe, let's say my fourth. Drain per second, yes, that's not good. So as I said before. Okay, so that's good. Maybe the 160. 160 was better. And then top it off with some duration. Then I look at the still not that good, but I need a little bit of range. Here's the problem. I need range. But I don't need range that much. I don't know. I don't need range that much. I need more. If I actually, you know what? If I'm going to do duration, I'll just put this on instead. And so my range is not limited. Adaptation is on. And I need more armor, obviously. It's not working out the way I wanted to. So I'm going to have to do some drastic measures. I'm going to remove these, and I'm going to do something else. Might not turn out the way I want, but at least I'll have more capacity space to do what I need to do. The armors really bleed your capacity space. This is 14, this is 12, okay. And I don't need efficiency. And for here, I guess now I could throw on more health and more armor. Or you know what? I know what I'll do. I'll throw on vitality. Throw on vitality since I'm not worried about armor. I mean shields that much. And I'll throw on more armor. And that will be my all-rounder. Or I could just do the thing that I've always done. Use the Celestial Twin. Primal Rage. Or use Primal Rage. Which is Primal Rage states enemy... killing an enemy increase critical chance by 15%. Increase decays by 1% per second. 1% per second. So if I keep killing up enemies, then I have to worry about decreasing. So this only works if you're continuously killing enemies over and over and over. Celestial Stomp. Okay, so I could, if I bring out my Celestial Twin, I could do that. But that's assuming that your Celestial Twin is going to be strong enough to take level 175 enemies. Which you probably wouldn't be able to do. Okay, so in this case, my suggestion is if you want to fight and stay in the mission longer duration, Let's see how that works. Duration is 3.88 seconds. Cloud Walker is a really piece of garbage. Let's see what that is. 5 seconds. My God. It's completely useless. This is why I hardly ever use Cloud Walker. Streamline this and that. Let's look at the other abilities. Fourth is 1.25 seconds damage. Okay. 7.5. Armor duration is 51. Armor multiplier is 1 point. Okay. So I'll do something else right now. I'll up my physical strength. Damage multiplier 7.7 from its standard of 7.5. Armor duration went down by 5.6 from 25 to. For armor multiplier went up by 3. So I need duration. Duration is bad here. Stun duration is 2.72 meters. Armor duration is 30 seconds. Multiplier is 3. Not bad, not bad. Radius is very short though. Not too worried about radius. If I get them in range, well, 34% radius is very bad. So I have to increase that just by a slight bit. But while I'm doing all this, I have to pay attention to the fact that I'll need to have more health than I have on right now. Yes, my armor is going to go down, but I need the health on more than the armor right now. And then I put on the armor like steel fibers. And after that, efficiency is 1.5. Okay. Then I could throw on something like fleeting is on. I could get that up to 7. But here's the problem. You need adaptation when you're fighting strong level enemies, or at least rolling guard. And if you're using your fourth, you don't want to have this on. So yeah. You want to have that efficiency, you want to have that range, but you need that range. But you need that narrow-minded as well. I mean, you need that, not narrow-minded, you need that duration period. So your range is good now. Your strength is good. It's not great, but it's better than it was with relations to range. And the only thing off now would be your duration period. You need more duration. No good. Time of invulnerability is 1 point something seconds. That's not good at all. I don't mind being 32%, but I need to, for my defy, it needs to be. If I could have defy, if I could have time invulnerability at 5 seconds, I'm good. Not too worried about range. I mean, I need good range, but I need the standards to be met for survivability. So maybe I could remove this. And that's good. If not, rolling guard. It's not good at all. I don't need 2 seconds. I need to have at least 5 seconds because the thing is, once I turn that on, that 5 seconds on, I need about 3 to 5 seconds for me to be making decisions for the other abilities. So that's why I need that 5 seconds, or at least that 3 seconds.
Foundry items can be claimed, operator. Are you pleased?
But I also see the thing is I also need this to be less than 2 seconds per energy. I think that's even more important than just being vulnerable to about almost 3 seconds. I kind of need both of them. Okay, so that's good. But it's not that good of an all-rounder if your range isn't good. This is more like something for a tank. So I guess I could, as long as I'm concentrating on what I'm doing for my fourth ability, I don't have to worry too much about it. As long as I'm not abusing it, I could use, I don't have to worry about it. Okay, so I upped it to Actually, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. Okay. That's good, that's good. Should I... Okay, shall I just take action just by slightly? And up it by... Okay. Yeah, that's good. And I really want the multiplier to be from 3 to 5 time and vulnerability, but probably won't happen on a all-rounder build. Not worried about Claw Walker whatsoever. And this, yes, this is good. So the 4th is fine. It's in the 1%. It's in the 1.79 energy. As long as I don't abuse it, I'll be okay. And the second one is, the third ability is time and vulnerability is not that good, but armor duration is good. Multiplier is 3. I really want multiplier to be at 4 or at 3. So my strength level has to be increased. But the moment I put on, so you know what? Let me try this. Maybe I won't even need rolling guard. No, that's 2.2, still in 2 point something range. Yeah, in a situation like this, that's when it's best to have the umbers on. When you start thinking about, oh man, I don't know. Okay, this type of situation, that's when you need the umbers. Okay, so that's 200. That's 3. That's the one I was looking for. That's what I'm looking for. Let's look at that efficiency again. That's still good. Range is still bad. Not so much concerned with the range though. Health is good. Armor is real shitty. So I have to throw on steel fibers. And I'll probably have to throw on even more armor for survivability. But this is an all-rounder build, so it's not a tank. It's about actually, you're right. This is not an all-rounder build. I mean, this is not a tank build, so I'm just not going to focus on power strength. I'm going to give it its strength. So the multiplier of 2 is satisfactory, since this is not a tank. So it can increase its range. It has health. It has armor. So I could just increase its range. And I could put on adaptation, or, well, since I'm going to be hitting enemies a lot using my 4th, do I really want to press rolling guard to get out of those toxic effects? Yes, I do. Okay, so I might not be able to use... Okay, that's there. And I still want to use fraction drift, which leaves this to be incomplete, but it's because of the umbers. The umbers take up so much space, so I'll have to throw umbers on him as well. So in this situation now I could put on the range. And 32% range is never good for any Warframe, because that means the enemy has to be standing directly in front of you for you to actually hit them. So if it's slightly off, then it's pointless. But if you put on a little bit of stretch to get it to like 79, once it's above 50%, then you're good. But if it's below that, then it's bad. Um, to someone like Trinity, it should be fine because it doesn't matter if they're shooting her from far or at close range. If she has her mods on, it's not going to affect her. If she has her powers on, it's not going to affect her whatsoever. Um, all she needs to do is be close to an enemy, and then that power is going to be transferred to another enemy. Him on the other hand, I think I should put stretch on him just to increase it to 79%. It'll be below where it's supposed to be, but at least he'll be able to hit enemies. Fair enough. Yeah, 9 is not too far from 12, so he's good. He's good in everything. Everything else is green except his range. So his range is going to be a little bit short. This is perfect right here for an all-rounder. Cloud Walker stun radius. I'm not going to be using Cloud Walker a lot, but everything else is positive. So there are only two things that are problematic: the range for the third and the range for the second. Um, but it's fine. This is fine. This is my all-rounder build. I guess if you decide you don't need it, you don't need the range, you then throw on the Celestial Twin to do what you need to do. But speaking of which, multiplier. Hmm. Against high-level enemies, it'll be pointless to use Celestial Twins. But if you could use that slam attack ability that it says it has, all you need to do well, actually, the moment you whip out your Celestial Twin and the enemy cap him, it'll probably hit him before he even gets to do that ability anyway, so what's the point? Primal Rage is better. So killing an enemy, increase 15%. Critical chance. Increase decays over time. Enveloping Cloud. That's Cloud Walker stuff. I guess this will work if it's lesser enemies. But for overall all-rounder, this will work. Because the game is not expecting you to fight level 100 and higher using a Celestial Twins. It's not expecting that. But if that's the case, then you can put on Primal Rage for your all-rounder. And your Celestial Twin will probably have the same effect as well. But then again, if you put on Celestial Twin and the Stomp ability, if your Twin is out, you don't have to cast your ability again to actually make them do the Stomp. You just press and hold down the button, and if your Twin is already out, they'll do the Stomp in the area that you want them to do the Stomp in, while you're melee slashing the enemy. Whereas this will decay over time. So the stun is... What's the stun amount? Perform a slam attack. I'm just going to check this. The truth is, as an all-rounder build, you don't need this. What you really need is, if you're going to do an all-rounder for this character, you need to have that range. You need to have that range here, and then you need to put Prime Sure-Footed here, or put his Coaction Drift here. or if you really think you don't need range whatsoever, you then put prime shift footed here, and then you put coaxial drift here. That's how that works. But I believe it's incorrect to do so. He's a melee guy, and if you're not within range, his melee is pointless. So having a little bit of range is good. And then you can put something like a coaxial drift here. Or if you believe that you don't need to use coaxial drift, you can balance the amount of knockdowns that they do. If you understand, if you could jump in the air high enough, then you could put in something like then you don't need to put in something like prime sure footed. You could put in coaxial drift. I believe, however, it's stupid to not put in prime sure footed. Because eventually super strong level enemies are always going to be doing knockdowns. And you'll be dead in no time. So push prime sure footed here. And then keep this. This is an all-rounder. And multiple slams to the floor are for level 100 enemies over. That's why I said you want to particularly put coaxial drift here until you get to level 100 enemies and higher. Any enemies going from level 1 all the way to level 100, like level 1 to level 80, yeah, sure, there'll knockdowns every now and again, but not all the time, like every single time. So that's why you're putting something like coaxial drift in this case. If it's not beyond level 100 enemies, you don't need to put coaxial drift here. You need to put prime sure footed. But if it's less, like say level 80 going to level 1, put coaxial drift here. No need for prime sure footed. And of course you have to have in range. But you know what, I'll just put it in the range. Yeah, it won't fit in here. Coaxial drift won't fit in here anyway, so might as well put in the range. But the standard is anything from level 1 enemies to level 90 enemies. Put stretch in, put coaxial drift in. That's all there is to it. Level 100 enemies and higher, like level 100 to level like say 175. No more coaxial drift. Only prime sure footed. So you have to understand the situation. Any enemies that go level 100 and higher are considered tank enemies. So you have to be a tank as well. It's not about being all-rounder anymore. It's about being a tank. However, there are some all-rounder builds that work like tanks. Like I've shown in many all-rounder missions, fighting tanks that are level 100 and higher, they work. But for someone like Wukong, that won't work because he's just melee only. He's not the crowd control type. I mean, if you know how to use your energy good, you don't need arcane energize. If you know how to balance out your energy good, you could put in more armor, even more armor, because he's based on armor, so you'll want to put in even more armor. That's only if, like, say, if you don't know how to use, like, if you know how to use his energy well, then you put in more armor. But if you don't, you leave in arcane energize. So you can always turn on your fourth and always use your fourth. I mean, use your third and your fourth. So I'm going to leave arcane energize in, and I'm going to leave his armor here. And that's how it's going to be. And then you put in something like a prime sure footed or coaxial drift here. Make sure your range is at least above 50%, so you could do damage and not have to worry about the range of the enemy. Because this is an all-rounder build. This is not a tank build. Still good. Good. And good. Okay, so everything's good. Okay, so I'll just level up this weapon. It was at a base of where it is. I'm going to give it put some put a little something on it. Its range. Now for the melee weapons, I was saying before, you want multiplier, you want killing blow, you want if the weapon is a high critical chance weapon, um, you want to have high critical chance as well. So if you look at the standard kit for this weapon, it's a 20, a 2, a 10, and that's it. And this wind up speed, wind up is here, damage, slam, slam, slam. Wind up speed is 1, so it does 1,000. So this is what you want to do. You want to deal out this heavy amount of damage straight out. You don't want to build it up over time at 272. You want to deal straight up 1,000 damage in every 2 seconds or every 3 seconds, or even less than 3 seconds, every 2 seconds. So in order to do that, you actually have to keep up the multiplier. I'll also have to, since it's 20. Yeah, since this is a critical chance weapon, you have to keep up the critical chance. This complements this. And the reason why it complements this is because this does heavy attacks. Like when you do your heavy wind-up attacks, you get more damage from your heavy wind-up attacks. And you want to keep doing that over and over and over again. So you can kill enemies faster and faster and faster again. But over time, your duration period will drop heavily. There's a heavy drop in duration period. So you want something like a drifting contact to increase your duration period. Because this will just take up minus the duration period. See, combo duration minus by 50%. Combo duration increased by plus 10 seconds. So you want to have these two on. And since you want to have also multiplier on, you then want to also have the damage, increase the damage. So you want to increase the damage, you want to increase the speed. So I want to increase this to here. This is going to be 168. Yes, I want it to be 168 because this is a slow weapon. I want killing blow on so I could get more wind up speed, faster wind up speed. I'm going to look for other mods that have faster wind up speed. But those mods might actually be terrible. Yeah, it's not gonna happen. All right, so that's the fastest it could go. That's there. That's there. That's there. No more wind up. Actually, you know what? Let me check out. Well, I'll just use this for right now. Well, okay. Let me go back. That one wasn't working that well. Maybe if I use this one. No, that's not that good. Alright, so I'm going to use this one instead. I'm going to rank that one up. Okay, so I'm going to use this one. Hopefully I don't have to worry about him doing ridiculous animation moves while he's trying to kill enemies. And then I have two Naramon locations slots. So I need to increase the critical chance since this is a critical chance weapon. And I need to already have to multiply and speed up to the way I want it. More critical chance, more survivability. Yeah, this will take away from that. Like if I have an Umbra fibers, this would be probably at 65%. Umbra fibers were here. And then more multiplier. For some reason, I swear I thought wind up speed. Heavy attack. Critical chance, heavy attack. 5%. Okay, so man, I really want. It's the thing about this game is like, if you don't get that accurate setup, it really becomes a drag out pain in the ass. You want that high crits. You want that crits because he's crit based Warframe. And weapons you want is to have that quick crits in order to assist them to quick kills. Come on, baby. But unfortunately, the attack speed is down. It's not good. I want the standard attack speed to be high up, even though I need that crits to be up. But now I don't have to worry too much about it because I put in the two Umbras, so at least it's above 50% in crits, so that's good. Slash. Killing an enemy with a heavy attack grants 10% invasion and immunity to status effects for 2 seconds. So this is good. So even if you're not going for a status build, this is good. But I have no elemental effect, and I do want an elemental effect on the enemy. So I could do more damage. I really wanted more wind up more than anything. That's why I'm looking for it. Because the faster my wind up, the faster I could do on heavy hits. 10% movement speed. No. Faster my wind up. So the faster my wind up, hurry, armor blocking. No. Matter right. Attack speed, stacks. Nothing about additional wind-up speed. Some bizarre reason I thought I would have a mod that have additional wind-up speed. This is the only thing that would give additional wind-up speed. So even if I put this here, there wouldn't be anything more than that. So what? This is the setup for this weapon. Yeah, I might have to get rid of that. Okay, so if I'm doing this, then I'm going to do it then. Obviously, I'm gonna probably have to do the regular standard this here, and then the standard prime pressure point. Then here. Yeah, so I'll have no choice but to keep it up. You don't want it to be at 44. You want it to be at 70. But in this case, since I don't have the umbras to put into place, I'll have to deal with this 44. The main thing is to get more wind up. It's not so much about this 44, but to get faster wind up. But there's no way to get more wind up. At least it doesn't tell you how to get more wind up. I don't know. I mean, this is good, but it's not great. I want to do faster wind up. I mean, I could execute the weapon faster, but if I have higher critical chance, then I don't have to worry about anything else. I was thinking maybe if I don't put this on whatsoever at all. It's like, what if I don't put that on whatsoever at all? Yeah, what if I don't put that on whatsoever at all? I just keep on steel fibers. I just keep on steel fibers and sacrificial pressure. I mean, not steel fibers, sacrificial pressure and sacrificial steel. And then I'll be able to have a critical chance on the multipliers I want, and as well as the speed. I won't be able to have the elemental damage here, but at least I'll be able to have what I want. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm really thinking about it. I have both these here because I wanted to combine them together When in all truth, I don't really need both of them. I just need one of them to be an empty slot here. That's the problem with this. But this is at on rank right now. It's not even ranked up. So once I get it ranked up, I'll be able to put that toxic effect thing in here. Be able to put prime fever strike in here, and boom, bada bing, bada boom, we're good. So that's the setup for that. So I'll try Wukong in combat, and we'll move on to the rest. Okay, so I'm going to test this out on Hydron because I got to level up this weapon anyway, and I already purchased affinity points, so why not level up this stuff? So it'll be a waste to not try to level them up anyway. Oh, you're already in the clan. You're in the clan. Okay, he said a minute, so he's planning on leaving. So okay, so I'll just do Hydron. I'll cut the mic and I'll just play the mission. And this is not going to be like JoJo where the sound is going to be down. I'm going to increase the sound. Yeah, mastery volume is pretty solid where it is right now. Keep it on 90. I mean, for an all-rounder, I'm really thinking that I should use Celestial Twin's capabilities because it is an all-rounder. I know I want to have like more duration period, but if it is an all-rounder, which it is, um, and I want to use the Celestial Twin more. But for an all-rounder, going fighting level 1 to level 80 or even to level 90 enemies, not level 100 enemies, like sortie level stuff, going from 50 to like 80 to 100. I think ranges 34 is perfectly fine. It's just that once you get over level 100 enemies, that's when it becomes a problem. So Celestial Twin stuff is in there. And if I'm going to use this, I'll definitely have to use the Celestial Twin A ability and put it as on my controller as the up button. So I could press and hold on it. The center D-pad doesn't do that. You'll just screw up if you try to use the center D-pad and hold down on it. And since we're not fighting high level enemies, you could have something like Coaction Drift in. Let me level that up to 6. I don't think 6 will do much of anything. Is that 7.5? 5% more? Like 65? If I had it at 70, maybe it would matter. Okay, so if I'm gonna have that at 70, then I'll have to. As long as this is in the 100s, then I'm fine. It's not even 1 yet. I don't even get capacity of 1. So, oh, great. So now it's no good. Okay, I'm just going to use flow in this case. Not really good idea, but no. That's too little energy. Too little energy. It's the damn umbras, man. They just take up so much space. All right, so forget it. Pretend like the umbras have capacity space. This will be maxed out if the umbras had like these spaces. Formers for this. If I had 2 umbra formers, this will be maxed out, and this collection drift will be able to be here as well as prime short footed. So I'm pretending like I put in a umbra former here. So this will be maxed out. So this is fine. This is the all-rounder I would have here, and I'm thinking about if I don't want to do Celestial Twin Stomp, then the only most logical thing to do is to do Primal Rage, to have this on to increase 15% chance for more crits. More crits. So this is more like the all-rounder. In all truth, like I said, the all-rounder is... In all truth, the all-rounder is this right here. And then you put something like the Coaction Drift over here. So in all truth, this is the all-rounder. So let me use this all-rounder, then I'll test out that Celestial Twin. I mean, you could use Celestial Twin at all times. But maybe, okay, you know what? Let me be honest with myself. Like, I'll see how range goes with Celestial Twin on. I mean, I know this is sucking range as 34, but let's see how it works. Sprint will be replaced by ability. You got to think about all this stuff when you're playing Warframe. You think you don't really have to think, but when you start fighting higher level enemies, then it'll be real sad if you didn't actually think about it, every single detail. That's the great part about Warframe. You have to think of every single detail in order to make a good build. So helmet. So this is the stuff you don't have to think of whatsoever. I'm only thinking of this simply as based on the type of what I'm going to do in mission. Yeah, this is good. Or maybe. It's very strange. I thought I would have. Guess not. Alright, so I'll use that. I don't know why he's rocking blue. I didn't decide to put blue on him. Maybe that's his base color. Screw that. I don't want to waste too much time on this. So I'm just going to pick something that makes logical